Yeah, Whiskey Go-Go. Sunset Strip. May of 66.
So tell me about this record and how it came about. What do you remember?
Well, I remember just about everything. We were doing good, and the band was sounding good. And I told Otis, I said, you ought to record a live album here. And Johnny Rivers was right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And the Doors was right around the corner of another club. And I said, Otis said, you reckon? So he made some calls, and he come back. He told me, come to my room. He said, it's gonna cost me $30,000, man, to record. I said, man, how many people got $30,000 to spend on themselves? He did it, and it came out good. He was happy. I was happy that it came out good because I suggested it.
Mm.
We did 2 albums. We had 2 albums out there, Whiskey Go-Go. And one of the other album had, this album here got mostly Otis' songs on it. You know, this album here got Otis Redding's songs.
Right.
The other album got the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and just other songs that he wanted to do, you know. Yes, indeed, man. That's it.
Do you remember the first time you heard the record?
Yeah, man. It was years later. I didn't even know that it was out. And let's see. I didn't know it was out until years later. Like I say, I was gone, Otis was dead, and everything. I was looking for, it must be on the other album, maybe, I don't know. Any old way, I had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. Tell me the story about how that song came about.
No, the song I was telling you about is I don't know. Good to Me. That was the song that I had put down. I had finished it, and Otis took it. He left from California, went to Memphis and recorded that song and came back to California. But like I said, John Farris is the only one to know about that. And John's gone and Otis is gone. So, you know, I don't have no proof.
But you tell me about the night that you worked with him on that song and what he said.
He told me, he said, I think we got a hit here. I said, a hit? He said, yeah. I said, that sounds like a hit. He says, a good song. He says, anyway, he says, it's a good song for album.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what it was. It was a song on the album. Not this album, but another album. Not the live album. It came out. It was on that album. I had the album somewhere, but I don't know. Like I say, I got tons of albums. I got albums upstairs in my closet, tall as I am. Stacks of albums. James Brown, everybody that I used to carry on the road. I had a trunk.
But tell me about Good to Me. Tell me the role that you played.
Well, I just wrote the song. I had been playing it for a while and putting it together. And Otis heard it. I told Otis, you ought to record a song. And he did. He went to Memphis and recorded and come back. And he threw the tape on the table there. And I listened to it on the tape recorder. And I liked it. The only thing different was the ad lib, that Otis did. Otis could ad lib like nobody. I didn't have that ad lib in his song. And I told him, after I heard it, I said, it's a good tune, but I said, the ad lib is going to take away. Ain't nobody can do your song. That's why you can't get that #1 song. Because that ad lib, it's a feeling thing. It's a soul thing. And everybody can't do that. When you record a song and people can play your song in clubs, you get a hit. But if can't nobody play your song, man, you ain't gonna get no hit.
How did you show him the song? Did you play for him on guitar? You sing it to him?
I played the guitar.
Most people don't know that about you.
Yeah, I played the guitar. I played in Vassapoo, just a straight key. You play. I got a guitar in there, and excuse me.
But in terms of the lyrics, did you write the lyrics to
Yeah.
the song as well? So you showed him the chords and the lyrics.
And I gave him the tape. He took the tape with him to Memphis. And like I say, I didn't have the ad lib thing that he had. But it turned out I was proud. I said, well, finally I'm gonna make some money. He said, well, man, you can't get no money yet. He said, you can't get no money yet until the record sell, man. So he sat right here. My wife had dinner, fixed dinner for us once. We was at the house. He sat right here. He had dinner, and we had to get back to the Howard Theater. It was a between shows, and he gave me a check for $20,000. Back then, $20,000 was $20,000. You know what I mean? And I was pleased. I forgot about everything else. So the funny part about it, when we went back to the Howard Theater and we played the show, and when he walked off the stage, he was looking back at me, playing drums, and he said, maybe I ought to come by and give you another 20. I said, do that, joking, He said, I played my ass off that day. Excuse me, I played my butt off, man.
In terms of playing, explain to me the groove as a drummer. How do you explain it?
I don't know, man. If you could feel it, you got to make it feel. You got to make it. See, I never played for the band. I was sort of like a drummer, a singer's drummer. I played for a singer, man. I didn't play for myself. Try to show off or none of that. None of that was in my head. What was in my head was sounding good, making you sound good, making the band sound good. Mostly the singer. When you on the show, I heard people say, other guys, man, we got to play this song. Man, they kicking out, this, that, and the other. And I heard that. Jackie Wilson said that. I said, well, that would never happen to me. And it didn't. I don't remember it ever happened to me. We played for James Brown. We played in Houston, Texas. We was there that Monday night. They had James back there Saturday night. Saturday night, Otis was back there. So Otis drew all the people. And James Brown didn't have nobody. So he had to close down. He came over where we were. And we played behind James. And all the horn players had played behind in James' band. They had worked with James at one time or another. But like the guitar player and the bass player, they had never worked with James. I hadn't either, but I'd been on shows with James, so I knew his shows. And I played, James went back and rehearsed his band to daybreak.
What was James looking for in a drummer? What did you need to give him?
I don't know. Because I didn't, I only played with James that one time at night. And I was on his butt. I was right on his butt. Every move he made, I knew. And he tried to hire me that night. You know, he said one time, I said, man, I can't do that, you know. That's against the rules, you know. You don't be on the show with somebody leaving. I said, maybe down the road, you know, you never know what will happen. So he told me, say, I admire you for being like that. He said, actually, he wasn't paying no more than about $3 more than Otis was. I think $25 a night with Otis, and James wasn't paying him for scales. I think that was $28, some cents, something like that, you know. But anyway, I couldn't do it. I told him I just couldn't do it, you know. And he told me, and then I met him again at the Howard Theater. I was working with Peggy and JoJo Scott. And he wanted me to leave them and come here. I said, man, you know, he said, well, you're always busy, man. I said, well, you know, I keep a job. I try to keep a job, you know. And we had fun talking, and we went over to Cecilia's there, right across the street, backstage there. Had a drink. Yeah, I had a drink. James had orange juice or something like that. No, he had pineapple juice. That was his thing, pineapple juice.
Is there a song in particular that you used to perform with Otis that would just make your hair stand up straight? I mean,
every song Otis had. Yeah. Every song, I just like. I heard this song on the radio one night, These Arms Are Mine, and it wasn't playing much, and hadn't heard nothing about no Otis Redding, didn't know nothing about no Otis Redding. So I liked that song, and I went and bought that song. I bought 2 copies, and I played it over and over and over and over and over again. And when he came to the Howard Theater, I went to see the show. And I didn't like, the band was good. I didn't like the drummer because the drummer played too much. He played all through the song. And I was saying that, not how the record go, but that's the way they do things, you know. So I listened to it. And I didn't see Otis for about 2 years later. And Bob Holloway came to me and said, Otis needed a drummer. And he was working at the Royal Theater in Baltimore. So I went over there, and he had another little young drummer. I forget his name. And this guy, he wasn't the drummer that I thought he should have been. Oh, so Otis said, you want to play? You want to play? I said, no, man, I don't know the show. You know, I don't know the songs and all the songs. And I know all the songs, but I don't know them well enough to play them. So we came back to Washington. He was coming to Washington, D.C. after Baltimore. So that's when I started. And the drummer that he had was sitting down front. And I was up on the high-rise thing up there. And the first 2 or 3 shows, you know, I followed and just played along, you know, pip, 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 yeah. So the next day, I told Otis, I said, man, let me play the show, man. I said, if I make a boo-boo, so what? You know. He said, it's my name out there. I said, so what? You know. I wanted to do it. And I set him on fire. I think he fired the other drummer right there. At the weekend. The weekend was over, he fired the other drummer. And I started with him. And we went on some one-nighters, and I really got my chops together doing one-nighters. One-nighters will get you together, brother. So,
What's a one-nighter?
One-night stand,
Yeah.
one-nighters.
Oh, one gig.
Yeah,
Just one
yeah,
night.
work the night here and night somewhere else.
So you're moving, right.
Yeah, I think we did about 20 some days.
So I should ask, how much of an influence did Al Jackson have on your playing?
None. I didn't know Al. Never met him.
But you heard, obviously.
Oh
his
yeah.
playing with Otis.
Steve Cropper and Duck. And, I knew all of them. But like I say, I don't know. I didn't think I was better than nobody else. But I saw things that other drummers didn't see. I guess you would say that.
I need to ask you about Satisfaction. On the live, when you play Satisfaction live, and you do that thing where you start, I gotcha, get, and you're just hitting the bass drum and the crash cymbal. You're not even hitting the snare drum. You're just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
How did that come into your head? I'm curious about that.
That was Otis's idea.
That was Otis's idea.
That was Otis's
And was
idea.
that like a different way of thinking about how to play drums, or
No, he that's what he wanted.
you just said punch it that way?
That's what he wanted.
How do you describe it to you?
Just like that. He said, "Well, when I get to this part, I want you to do this, that, and that. I want you to do this. I want you to do that." First couple of times I missed, but
Right.
Next after that I never did miss.
Right.
He could count on that, and hey.
But how often are there singers telling drummers how to play drums, or did you take it as part of playing the song?
Otis played drums.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Otis played drums. He wasn't a good drummer, but if he'd have worked at it, he would have been.
Uh-huh.
He was. He knew what he wanted. He knew enough to show you what he wanted you to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you listen, you're gonna have no problem, buddy.
So tell me about confidence. How much confidence did you need to go out there and play with these musicians?
None.
None.
I thought I was just as good as they were. I didn't think I was better than nobody, but if I know the song, I can play it.
Right.
Like
Playing a live show takes a lot of confidence to be up there with a horn section kicking it the way you did.
Well, yeah, I guess it does, but like I say, I just went back with little Ambrose and the Showstoppers here.
Mm-hmm.
It was they used to tease me. They used to tease me, said, "Woody, you think you could play?" He told me, said, "You ought to go down New Orleans." He said, "That's where the drummers are, New Orleans." So I was with Gene Chandler, and we played New Orleans. And this guy came up to me and introduced himself, and he told me that he played on Lloyd Price and Little Richard and all of them guys. He played Earl Palmer. And I said, "Yeah, well, I know of you. I've heard your name, So he took me to this club, and every entertainer that was in New Orleans came through that club sometime or another that night after they got off work. They came, drop in. And we was there all night long, and he played. I didn't play. The next night I played, and I wiped him out. Everybody want to know who is he, where he come from. And I created a little shuffle that I never got a chance to get around to showing nobody or get to use where you shuffle and put the bass drum, the backbeat on the bass drum.
All right, you're gonna have to sing this to me while you're explaining it. Yeah.
See, it's like you play cymbal and put the bass on the back, put the still bass, putting it here.
Mm-hmm.
You put the backbeat on the bass drum.
Right. So play it. Go ahead, do it with your right.
It's not,
Okay.
like you play a shuffle, like.
Right, but you're actually doing like triplets or something there.
Right. That's where most people play it back.
Correct.
But mine was like.
Man.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. I got to get a shot of you doing that with your foot. Hang on. Back up a minute. And show me what you're doing. Okay, here we go. So I can see your foot. All right. Do it.
And stick it. I mean, put it in there. Stick it in there. Put it in there. And
That's cool.
And I had that a lot of guys.
Did you give it a name? Woody
I
Shuffle.
call it a New Orleans shuffle.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's what I call it, man.
What, now, was Ed Blackwell around when you were down there?
Norman Blackwell?
I think it was Ed. I think it was you another. Anyway, so you hung out with Earl Palmer and.
I didn't know that was Earl Palmer, man.
Oh, I see.
I didn't know that was Earl Palmer.
Oh.
But he told me that he played with Lord Price and Little Richard and Fats Domino. He recorded a lot of all that stuff.
Right.
Excuse me. But I didn't know him until later years, back in the later part of 70, when I found out he got sick, I think, and he was out in California. He moved to California.
Right, working for Phil Spector in the studios and all that stuff.
Was he? I don't know.
Yeah.
I know he recorded with Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra wanted him on Quincy Jones. They wanted him on a session, and he played the session. I think he got sick right after that. And I don't know whether he's still alive or not. I haven't heard. But J-Mo kept in touch with him, I think.
He passed a few years ago.
He did?
Yeah.
Earl Palmer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. J-Mo, I talked to J-Mo a couple of days ago. And he had a stroke, and I called him. Leroy Hadley told me that he had a stroke. So I kept calling him, and finally he called me back. And he told me that he wasn't bad. It was all right. So the doctor said it wasn't bad, So he was home, and we talked for about 15, 20 minutes. That's my buddy. He and I used to work with Otis together.
So you when you left Otis, he picked up, right? Is that right?
Well, he came in. What happened was a stupid thing. It wasn't a stupid thing. Just that was Otis. I asked for $50 more a night because I'm playing behind him, and everybody on his show I'm playing behind. And he wouldn't do it. Now, rather than for him to pay me $50 more, he hired another drummer that he's going to have to pay $150. You see? I asked for $50 a week. Now, instead of rather than to pay me $50 a week, he hired another drummer that he's going to have to pay $150 a week. So I told him, I said, man, your math ain't good, So he said, what you mean? So I told him, I told him to explain it to him. And he just looked He looked at me. He said, well, it's just a boy here, give him a try. I said, well, you ain't gonna give me no more money, I gotta go. I said, but I ain't gonna leave you holding it. I know you're getting ready to go to Europe. I'm gonna stay till after we go to Europe. So he stayed around just before we was at the airport, just before we left. He said, I'm gonna give you $10 more a night on these one-nighters. I said, cool. No. So I went to Europe. When I come back, we did 46 one-nighters. My drums got stolen. And I told him, let me have money to get a set of drums. I got drums that you